Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us today. My name is Rose, and I'm part of Polariz team. And I wanted to welcome you all to our very first session of Polariz webinar series. Polariz is a platform that provides home tools for children with speech delay and for parents to become expert tutors. We are in a mission to empower parents and caregivers. Today, I am really excited to introduce Natasha Chahande. She's an experienced play-based speech language pathologist, and she's also in the Polaris network. She has over 15 years of experience, and today, Natasha will share what carryover really means, why it matters, and how parents can support it at home with practical everyday strategies. After the session, if we have time, we'll definitely take a few questions. But without further ado, over to you, Natasha.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we're able to hear you.
Just give me a moment. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Uh,
Is it visible now?
yes, it is.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I know weekends are precious family time, so I really appreciate you being here. Tonight, we are going to talk about something that matters to every parent of a child in speech therapy. How to help your child to use their communication skills, not just in the therapy room, but in everyday life, during play, during routines, that is, meals, etc., and all those little moments that make up your day. So, my goal is to make this session a practical, simple, and reassuring one so that by the end you feel confident about supporting your child's progress in a natural, stress free way at home. Uh, Rose has already introduced me, but I would like to take a moment just to introduce myself. So, my name is Natasha Chahande, and I am a speech language therapist and audiologist who has been working with young children and their families for several years. Supporting parents on this journey is one of my favorite parts of the job because I truly believe uh, that your everyday interactions with the child make the biggest difference in your child's communication. So, through this webinar with Polariz-AI today, my goal is simply to share practical, low stress ideas that you can start using right away. Uh, so, things that fit naturally into your routine and help your child build confidence in real life communication. Coming to our topic of today, that is carryover. So, first of all, what is carryover? Carryover refers to a child's ability to use newly learned speech and language skills outside of the therapy room. That is at home, in school, or any real life situation. So, for example, a child who has been practicing, let's say, a S sound in therapy is now able to produce it correctly in the therapy situation. So, with carryover, will gradually start using that correct sound when talking to parents, when talking to the teacher in the school, or when interacting with peers, friends. For this carryover to occur, the parents will be using their everyday communication opportunities to practice this sound. So, in this case, in this example, that is the S sound that is learnt in the therapy. So, parent could say things like, Simon says, make silly sounds and make everyone uh, do the silly sounds. So, then the parents ask, what are you doing? Child says, silly sounds. So, you are practicing the S sound in a play method. So everyone is doing it, and this is how practice could occur with the parent. Or maybe a child who has been learning the turn taking behavior with carryover will also start showing the skill during play with friends. So, for practicing the behavior, like the turn taking behavior, the parent can play a game as a family together where each family member, including the child, is given one picture from a sequence. So, you have those story sequences. So, from that, uh, each family member is giving one of the sequence pictures. So, what each member has to describe the card that they are being dealt, and they have to describe it, each one of them one by one. Then at the end, one person gets the opportunity to sort everyone into the correct story order and has to tell the story in the end. And each member will get a chance to do that. So here the child has to wait for his or her turn to come, uh, and all the while they have to be attentive. They have to listen the part of the story that each member has told, reorder them, and then narrate the story in the end. So this is another fun way in which we can practice turn taking behavior at home. So the key idea here is that therapy will teach the skill, but carryover will help the child own the skill that they have learned. You're moving from structured environment of the therapy to a natural communication environment, and that will help the child to become independent and use the skills spontaneously in daily life. So as I said, the therapy teaches the skill, whereas the carryover helps the child to own it. Now, why carryover matters? Why is it such a big deal? Because without carryover, progress that is made in therapy will remain isolated and will not translate into real life communication. So, to ease that, we have to make some efforts, that is, practice with the parents. So, what does carryover do? Carryover will enable functional communication. So, the skills used where they matter. Example, with practice, the child will use the turn taking behavior while they are interacting in the playground also. Hmm? You will also be able to see faster progress, and it will be long lasting. There will be increased confidence and independence in the child. There will be reduced need for frequent therapy sessions, and long term retention of skills will be there, which will lead to social and academic success for the child. Also, research shows that children who practice skills in everyday environments make significantly greater improvement than those who only practice in therapy. So, there have been numerous studies that have already proved this. So, parents' role in this carryover process. Parents play the biggest role in bridging therapy with real life communication. Why? Because children spend more time at home than in therapy. So, parents are the key partners in progress. Parents offer naturalistic environments where communication is meaningful, and they can provide consistent reinforcement across routines. That is, you are there with the child throughout the day. So when you're doing your regular daily activities, you have your meal times, play times, etc. You can practice during that time, and as the child is making the effort or using the skill, the parent can provide reinforcement there. So all these situations can be used for practice and providing encouragement to the child. Also, parents offer a safe and loving base, making the child feel secure enough to explore, make mistakes, and then learn. So, this is a very conducive environment where they can practice the skills that they have learned and generalize them. Uh, so, in order to do these activities or practices, parents do not need any special training. They just need um, awareness of the target skill. You should know what is going on in the therapy, what skills are ready for carryover uh, and practice at home. You need guidance for the therapist, of course. You should get information from the therapist about the goals that you need to work on, the techniques that have been taught to the child, what activities you can perform, what are the behaviors that you want to see in the child, all this information from the therapist. And you need consistent practice during everyday moments. Consistency is the key. Consistency is very important. You must do day after day, so that in various situations through various activities, so that the skill gets generalized, carried over into a natural communication environment. Also, other important things to keep in mind are that parents are partners, they are not assistants. So they are equal collaborators with the therapist. Parents should share what they are seeing the child's behavior as at home, progress they're making, and the challenges also that they are having. They should practice the recommendation strategies in everyday routines. How to do that, I will explain in a few moments. And they should help create natural opportunities for communication. um, so we should keep in mind that parents are not therapists. They are not expected to run therapy at home. Okay, they are not mini therapists. They don't need to conduct formal sessions or drills or structured sessions. So the primary role here is only supportive. So what they need to do here is integrate the activities into real life, and we don't want a therapy room situation again while doing all this. So the carryover would work best when the interaction is positive. So you should provide encouragement, not constant corrections. You should praise the child's effort. You must say, "Wow, good try." Okay. And remember that progress takes time. Celebrate small victories and be patient with setbacks. Every step forward, no matter how small it is a win. So we need to be patient while we're doing the work with the child. Um, Another thing is that you have to keep the interactions playful. So you can use games or during your everyday routines. Even you can use humor, because laughter, games, silly voices, all these things can make learning feel less like work and more like fun. Also, you should keep the interactions pressure free for yourself and for the child also. So parents themselves have a lot to do, and for that reason, for yourself, you should keep things simple. I will give you some suggestions on how to do that. Also, for the child, don't force the child. You don't have to perform drills or essay structured sessions, and avoid turning communication into a test. So let the child take the lead while parents stay warm and supportive. Then the child feels safe and motivated, which is exactly when the generalization would happen. Um, Strategies for parents. Here are some strategies which can be used by parents, irrespective of the level at which the child is or the goal that you're using. But these are general strategies that will help you to, keep the child motivated, and the play activities useful, so that you have better success. So these are some general strategies, like for example, use micro practice moments. So these practice activities that we are keeping, they should be kept in short bursts, like 1 or 2 minutes only, and across the through the day you may have 2 or 3 sessions like this, where you're doing 2 to 3 minute sessions, activities. For example, if a child who has learned the sound in therapy, the parent may tell the child, say the curse sound 3 times before opening the door. You know, simple. While doing your everyday activities or chores, you're going somewhere and you throw this challenge in between. So, just 3 repetitions. It's a small thing, but you're using the technique, the child is using the technique and trying to produce the sound. So this is a quick and playful practice activity. Or for example, a child who has been learning vocabulary and has learned apple in therapy, the parent would mix some real apples with onions and ask the child, give me the apples. The child picks out the apples one by one, and while handing it over to the parent, both the parent and the child would say apple every time. Okay, this is another example. Now, another thing to keep in mind is model instead of correct. So, would have the urge of instantly correcting the child, but if we do that, it could cause frustration from the child. Instead, model the correct form naturally. So, for example, if a child who has been working on correct production of the sound while at the supermarket points to a soap and says, I want soap, parent says, sure, this soap, and takes the soap and gives to the child. This is your soap. So, this will encourage the child because you are modeling the correct pronunciation for the child. It will encourage the child to remember and use the technique that he has learned and then produce the correct pronunciation, instead of giving a negative feedback. Then use daily routines. So turn daily routines into practice opportunities. So use habits like during bath time, you could work on naming your body parts and say, now you're soaping your arms, and the child repeats arms. Similarly, for a child who has been learning, let's say, action verbs, you could say, we are scrubbing the feet, or let's pour the water while pouring water. And during cooking, you could have the child with you and you could practice sequencing, talk about the steps that are involved in preparing the child's dish. Let's say you are at breakfast and you're making a toast for the child. So, what are the steps that are involved in uh, making toast? Um, let's say you are going somewhere, you are riding in the car along with your child. So during that time, you could name all the vehicles that are passing you by when you are working on categories with the child, like vehicles. Or you could describe what you see. Parent would ask, "What is that man doing?" while pointing at the man, and the child says, "Eating ice cream." Or if the child is at sentence level, you could expect a sentence from the child. If you're after your bath time, if you're dressing, you could give the child commands and they would follow the instructions. Example: raise your left foot and slip on the socks. So this is a command, two-step command, to raise the foot and slip on the socks. So you could practice these skills during your routine. um, Also, try to make your sessions fun and playful. So you can use games that you play. You could provide stickers or some their favorite food items like reinforcement. You could make it challenging for them by giving specific time to do the activity, and other challenges like let's find five things starting with "sir" while we walk to the park, and together you take turns to name things that you see that are starting with the "sir" sound. Okay. uh, then you could give specific praise and consistent praise. So you have to praise the child's effort and not look for perfect outputs. For example, if the child tried to produce the sound, whatever sound they have been working on, like for example the r sound, but that didn't quite come out so well. But we could say that I love how you started using the sound. I loved your effort. Great job trying to use the clear sound. Yeah. And stay connected with the therapist. This is important. So you should stay connected with the therapist. You should ask them questions about the activities that you're doing. If you want to know the technique or how to use the particular skill that the child has been taught, you must ask the therapist. You have to share your challenges with them. So while you're working with the child, you might face some challenges. How to overcome them? Is there something wrong that you are doing, or is there a better way of doing it? So you need to share the challenges with the therapist, and they can provide you better feedback. You can also request for examples. So, if the therapist has given you a goal that you need to work on, and certain techniques that they have been using with the child, so if you feel confused about how to use the technique, how to integrate it into your daily routine, you can ask the therapist to give examples to you. Okay, they will show you how exactly to conduct the activity, how to use the technique, and most importantly, review progress regularly. So when you're doing these activities, um, try to keep a log of things, of the activities that you have done, how the child has responded, and on a daily basis, so that weekly you can review the progress. Weekly or bi-weekly, you can review the progress with the therapist, so that depending on the responses, depending on the goals that are being worked on, you can update things. Hmm? Now, um, I would like to give you some examples of carryover activities. These are general activities, some of which you can use while working with your child. So, for example, there is a picture hunt activity. So, if your child has been learning sounds, let's say, for example, the R sound. So, what you do, you take picture cards of words that are starting with R sound, and five or six of them, and then take one room. of your house, and within the room you hide those cards. Now you ask the child to find the picture cards. So it's like a challenge, quick challenge for the child. Child finds them and then gets the cards over to you and shows each card and says the words while handing them over to you. So this way you can practice the child's r sounds. You could do this for categories for learning vocabulary also. Hmm? And then you have another game, a shopping list game. So here, the child would help create a list using target words or categories like fruits or vegetables, and then together you shop these items from the market. Or you tell the child, today we need to clean the bathroom. So, what are the items that we would need for this? And together you make a list of items that you need for cleaning the bathroom, and then go about to pick out those items. Okay, then you could do storytelling. You could ask the child to narrate a small story that you both had read in the morning or yesterday, and you can see how much details the child is able to capture and tell, and then together you can add more details and make the story more interesting and more cohesive together. Then you could do routine based practices. So how I had explained that you should utilize the daily routines. So for example, during breakfast you can ask the child to name the food items that they are going to eat, or while traveling in the car together you can count together the number of red cars that are passing by. uh, During bedtime, you could talk about the sequence in which you perform the activities. The child is going to perform the activities while getting ready for bed. So, these are certain examples that you can use your daily routine time to integrate certain practice activities. So, it will depend on the current goals that you're working on with your child. Um, you can play I Spy. So there could be target words, target sounds, etc. in this game. For example, for a child who has learned objects and their functions, you could use the objects around you or scatter certain picture cards and say, I spy something that I can write with. So they go about and picking the objects or the cards that they can use for writing. Or you can say, I spy something that I can wear. So similarly, object by function, or the functions, according to the functions, they can select the objects. Similarly, you can modify this activity based on the goal that you're using for the child. Uh, yeah. So now coming to common challenges and how to overcome them. So many children who perform well in structured therapy session may struggle to generalize these skills in everyday conversation. So while you perform the practice activities at home, there are several key contributors to carryover difficulties. Some of the challenges faced by the parents would be like the child refuses to practice, or the parents are too busy or tend to forget. Child uses correct skills only when prompted, or there is inconsistent progress, or maybe the parents are not certain about how they have to use the techniques. So there are a variety of issues that could happen. Let's take a few of them and try to understand how we could resolve these. So if the child is refusing to practice, maybe we need to shorten the duration of the sessions. I said that we have to use micro sessions, so 1 or 2 minutes only, so that the child does not have the challenge of like concentrating for too long, and quickly we should be going about the activity and be done with it. use play based approaches, make it fun, don't make it like an activity they have to perform. Keep it light and fun. Also give choices, allow the child to choose the play or the activity that you are going to do. If the child is choosing it, there is more probability that they will be um, engrossed in that activity. So maybe that will help initially. Then if the parents are too busy or tend to forget, as parents there is a lot to do, and it can be overwhelming for you. In order to take care of that, first of all, try to not make it like a burden for you. Try to keep things simple. Try to integrate these activities into your daily routines and not add additional tasks. So what you could do is, as I explained, I gave some examples. So during the time that you spend throughout the day with the child, within those give these micro tasks. So if you do 2 or 3 times these practices with the child, that is more than enough. Also you can use reminders. um, we are very busy, so I understand that we can forget. So use reminders for yourself. You can use physical reminders. You can have a chart to let you know with a post-it that you need to do certain things today. This is the goal that you need to work on, or this activity you can do. You can use your phone for reminders. Also set realistic goals. Don't take up too many things at the same time. Let us start with some simple activities. Uh, Realistic goals you must set for yourself, and take 3 practice moments per day. That's it, not more. Then the child uses correct skills only when prompted. So, in that situation, slowly and gradually, we need to reduce the prompts. And instead of giving direct prompts, maybe we can give some natural cues like, "Oh, I didn't hear you. Can you try again?" Hmm? And then encourage self correction. So don't immediately try to correct the child. Give longer response times. Okay. Let them understand that they have made a mistake, and maybe they will self correct. Give a few extra seconds for that. That sometimes will help. If there is inconsistent progress, this could be one challenge that you come across, that you are practicing, but the progress that you see that the child is making is inconsistent. So for this, the best thing is that you must keep track of the things that you're doing. So as I said earlier, try to maintain a log. Okay, so the goal that you're working on. So if you have a weekly goal, let's say, so this week we are going to work on so and so skill. These are the techniques we are using, and these are the activities that we are going to use. Use those activities daily throughout the week, and take a note of the kind of responses that you're getting of the child. So at the end, if we are not having the expected progress, we would know where what happened, or something needs to change, where exactly that needs to change. We can have a overview of that. The therapist can help you understand with that. Hmm? Review goals with the therapist. So at the end of the week, at the end of 2 weeks, you can show these things to the therapist, go over the plan, or things that you have been doing, and they might be able to spot exactly where things need to change, what can be made better. The therapist will be able to give you suggestions accordingly. You might need to adjust strategies, you depending on the child's progress. You might need to change activities, techniques, something. So for that, maintaining some type of log is very important. uh, Parent uncertainty. Ask the therapist for demonstrations. So when you're not clear or you're in dilemma whether how to use the techniques that have been taught, please ask the therapist to show you how to use it, the techniques. Also, you can use Polariz video and tool guidance system here. There is another thing that you could do is uh, try to record some snippets of the activities that you're doing with the child without the child's knowledge, so that you can show these recordings to the therapist and get their feedback. So the therapist will be able to see the way that you're conducting these activities and what the child is responding, like how your entire situation and interaction is going about, and they might have some valuable feedback that they would add here. Also, embrace technology. So there could be aptastic learning. That means educational apps, games can be very powerful tools here. On Polariz.ai, you can find tools targeting specific speech therapy goals and interests. And there is this interactive feature and instant feedback, which can help you keep the child engaged and motivated. Let me quickly show you. So, on Polariz.ai, you could have these kind of tools are available for you. So depending on the goals that you're working on, you could select activities. So you can see here prepositions, what, where, who. These are the things that you can select from. And let's select who. Hmm. Um, I'm not able to. I will reshare my screen again, I think. Um, I'm sorry, I don't have the ability of sharing sound with you, but I can tell you. So, who helps deliver the mail? Is it a police officer or the mail carrier? So, our options are here, and we can select. The child would say mail carrier, and then we would click on this option. It would say, great job, that's correct. Now, next question. Who teaches students? Firefighter or teacher? So, this child would say teacher, and we would click on this option. Great job, that's correct. Who builds houses? Construction worker or mail carrier? Maybe the child will give a wrong response. Let's see.
Hi, Natasha. Sorry, I think we're not able to see your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
You're fine. Thank you.
I'm not able to share the sound. Okay, no issues. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, this is how you would get the options. So, who build houses? So, construction worker. Who puts out fires? Firefighter or teacher? Then we would the child would say firefighter. So, great job. That's correct. Who protects the city? Police officer or construction worker? Let's select the wrong option this time. That's not quite right. Try again, and it would give you another try. You would say police officer. That's correct. At the end, you would get a nice sticker and you would be redirected again. Yeah. So here, these are the tools that you can use. We just did the question time with who questions. You could do something else. There is storytelling activity, starter words, your vocabulary, first words. There are verbs and so many other things. So you could use these tools. These are free for you to use. You can use for quick 1 or 2 minute activities, and these would encourage children to stay in the activity and complete them because they give very good visual interaction, and they give auditory reinforcement, and there will be a visual reinforcement at the end of the activity. It would show a nice rhyme to the child and a sticker too. Uh, so the key conclusions here are that families often struggle with time, consistency, or a child who resists practice. So now we know that micro practice would help with the time management, making practice fun. It reduces the resistance that would come from the child, and using visual reminders like sticky notes, etc., help parent stay consistent, and small wins matter. So progress happens gradually and grows through regular practice. So reduce pressure, model more, and correct less. I would say that, and create fun micro practice moments and use high frequency routines for practice. In conclusion, carryover is not optional. It is essential for real world communication success. And children communicate more effectively with caregivers when they feel relaxed. So, stress or pressure can reduce communication attempts. A playful approach, it will increase repetition without the child feeling like it is a task or a burden for them. And parents become a bridge between therapy and everyday life. It is not an extension for the therapy room. So, if we keep these things in mind and try to make it a good experience for the child, we will definitely make progress. Now that I have shared my thoughts, let me urge you to pose any questions if you have for me.
Thank you, Natasha. It was very helpful. I do see that someone has asked you a question on chat. Um, Matt Strong here says, "Thank you, Natasha, for the session, and Polariz for organizing. I have a question about reinforcements. My pre-verbal son loves chocolate cookies and is motivated to speak when I have cookies. Is it all right to use his favorite food as reinforcement, or should I find other non-food reinforcements?" Thank you, Matt, for your question. Natasha?
Yeah. Initially, you can use the cookies as reinforcement, but you need to mix it up. You can use the cookies initially for motivating the child to uh, keep the interaction going, but don't make it a habit or it will lose the appeal that the child has for it. That happens very easily. So also when you're using the cookies as reinforcement, try to use tiny pieces and not an entire cookie, so that there is not too much eating of the cookies. Also use tiny portions of the cookies, or what you could do is you could use certain tokens, and the child create collects these tokens throughout the day that you're doing the activities. And by collecting these tokens, at the end of the day, when you collect the tokens from the child, depending on the collection of the tokens, the cookie would be the ultimate reward that they would get, you know after collection of these tokens.
Thank you so much. And I think we have one more question from Tisha P. Thank you for your question. Um, she says, "Thank you, Natasha. Tisha here. How many micro sessions do you recommend per day?"
Okay, so micro sessions, also keep it minimum, maybe 3 or 4, not more than that. Otherwise, it could become like too much for the child. We don't want the child to get over exhausted or bored by these practice also. Then they may not be as willing to comply with these practice sessions. We also don't want to stress the child. If they are stressed or frustrated with these activities, then the outcome will not be as good. So try to keep them to 3 or maximum 4 sessions, like micro practice sessions a day, not more. And it will be stressful for you also. We don't want that.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope that helped. Tisha also asked, "How do I try out the Polariz classes shown in the session?" For this one, you could sign up. You can find us in Polariz.ai, and you should be able to sign up and try our free lessons there. Um, and we do have a lot of uh, sessions there, and you can see your progress and everything. All right. So do we have any other questions? Let's see. Okay. That was amazing. Thank you, Natasha, again. And uh, uh, you can find us at Polariz.ai. We are on LinkedIn as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us anytime.